Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a full face of first impressions, minus a few little things here and there like your typical brows and lashes and things like that. But for the most part, I have quite a bit of new makeup that I had not yet used that I wanted to put to use in a first impressions video. A couple of it being Tarte products, so the Tarte Tarteist Pro Remix eyeshadow palette, the Tarte Tarteist Pro Glow and Blush palette. This one I was really excited about, and if you've seen my Do I Really Need It makeup videos, then this was one of the things that I really had my eye on. A couple of things that I had picked up during the Sephora sale in November that I had not yet used, and that's the Huda Beauty Overachiever Concealer, the Milk Makeup Blur and Set Powder. I feel like there's so many words. Let's see, gonna use the Clinique Even Better foundation, which is not new, but it was new to me. Yeah, so let's just go ahead and get right into this to see what I think. Let's create a look together and see how each of these products performs. Let's get started. Okay, I've already done my brows, and the reason I do that now, as far as my brows like being the first step of my makeup routine, is because I have been using the highbrow pencil. I've had it for forever, and so I've started putting it to use, and I just love the highlight that it gives my brow bone. So what I do is I put it down so that once I start my shadows, like it'll layer over top of that and that highlight will remain, and so that is why those are done. Brows are boring anyways, and I had nothing new. So I want to start out, there's a whole lot of stuff here, but I want to start out with the eyes. So I'm going to start out with the Tarte Tarteist Pro Remix palette. I wasn't going to pick this up. I was not intending to pick it up. I was it was one of those where I was like on the fence. I'm like, I'm not sure if it speaks to me. I love the photos, but then I see other photos and it looks a little bit more muted. Well, anyways, Tarte was having a sale and I was able to get it at 25% off. So I think I paid 30 something, which for that price I was absolutely okay with picking it up. So let's see what this bad boy looks like. I have not swatched any of these. I love the packaging. It's got like one of these kind of vinyl type of covers, and it's one of those like, what is it, lentograph? I think that's the word. I don't know. And it just really is cool. The paint splatter moves. I think that's really neat, and you know I am all about the packaging. So it comes with the regular size mirror as your Tarteist palettes do, or like the last one did. And here's what they look like. It looks like there's only a couple of true matte shades. I think that black is matte, but it's got like those little floating glitters, unless that's glitter from another shadow, which that might be the case. So if that's the case, 3 mattes, and the rest are like satiny shades, or I think they're called like metallic, and I think there is, actually I think there is a shade in here, or shades with a floating glitter. Or is that Too Faced? I don't even know anymore, guys. So let's see what we want to do. I'm not even sure what I want to do with this. So taking a blending brush, and I'm trying to think what I want to do, because a lot of these shades are what I would consider to be more summer shades. That's not to say you can't use them in the winter. I just, because of the weather, it's cold out, I'm not like wanting to wear like a turquoise eye right now. Okay, well let's start with Wall Art. That's really the only matte transition shade I see. And based on how it's going on the brush, I think it's going to go on deeper than what I think it is. So, oh, I'm all over the place right now. Let me start with eye primer. Because if not, then I'm going to have faded, nasty shadow in just a few hours. So I'm using the Fenty Pro Filter eyeshadow primer. It works great for most shadows, but I've noticed for some it can get a little bit like streaky, patchy, and I think it's just because it's so tacky. But I gotta say, it holds on the shadow all day long. Okay. Now let's go in with that transition shade. I feel like I didn't smooth this one out enough. Okay, let's try this again. There is a ton of kick up. That's never really been a deal breaker for me though, so. Oh, this is a nice little shade. This is it's like a medium toned kind of, I don't know, camel shade maybe. Yeah, this goes on really, really nicely, and I was just talking about the primer and how some palettes don't work as well with it than others. Seems to be now the matte for starters. Seems to be going on really nicely. And build that up just a little bit more. Yeah, I like it very, very much. It's going on really smoothly, and it's pairing so well with this primer. And that's another thing, I'm not trying to sell this primer. Another thing I love the primer is that it really helps shades just stand out. Like it shows them to the best of their ability, I guess. Okay, I'm really, really liking how this matte went on. I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just gonna do whatever. It's gonna be interesting how this comes out. Because usually I plan out what I want to do on my eye. Like I take a few minutes and I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I see. And given that I don't do a whole lot of first impression videos, I usually put on the spot like this. I'm just going to take a matte shader brush and I'm going in with that shade Splatter, which is like a silver green. It's really interesting. I'm going to apply this with a wet brush. I guess I should try apply it dry, see how it works out. So I packed on a pretty good amount there. So let's take this. Wow, I don't even think you need it wet. This is very pigmented. That's pretty. Very pretty. I guess I won't go in with a wet brush then. Taking it up to the crease, kind of like as if I were doing a cut crease, but I'm not doing a cut crease. That looks really good, and it layers really, really nicely. And you know, typically I go in with these types of shades with my finger, but they are so soft and buttery that they go on really nicely with a brush. I'm just still curious though. I want to see what happens if we go in with a wet brush. Oh. Yikes. That's awesome. It really does make it even more metallic. That is really pretty. That's really, really pretty. That stands out like crazy. I'm going to do all kinds of layering, and again, I'm not sure how this is going to turn out, but on that same brush, I'm going in with the other side. I'm going to go in with the shade Mashup, which is that purple shade, violet, whatever it's called. Now that, I know, I don't have all the details with me. I know these formulas are different, so that Splatter shade was so incredibly soft and buttery. This one's got a little bit of a different consistency, a little bit of a different formula. It's still packing on my brush very nicely, but I notice it's not as soft. So I'm going to take it onto the outer and inner portion of my lid, and I want to take it in with a wet brush. However, I'm like trying to see how it applies dry. That applies so good. Like, so far this palette is exceeding my expectations, because like I said, I wasn't planning on picking it up, and I did because it was on sale. And I'm actually, as of right now, I'm so glad I did. That's really pretty. Okay, I'm gonna try it with a wet brush just because I'm uber curious. And let's see what this does. Yeah, it intensifies it a little bit. I wouldn't say that it does as much as that green. It's still very pretty. I need a little bit of coffee. I have to show this cup. So this is from Animal Kingdom. We recently went to Disney World, and every time we go to Disney World, the Starbucks at each park, or I say every time, my husband and I together have gone twice, last year and this year, and the Starbucks at each park has had a different cup specific to that park. So last year I got the ones that were available, which were still available this year, and they had new ones when we went. I was so excited. You guys know that I have to showcase anything Disney on my channel because I am just a Disney geek that way. Okay, so I'm going to take a pencil brush now, and I'm going to go in with that shade Sway, and I am going to go in with a wet brush. These are applying, like, exceeding my expectations with a dry brush, but when I take them in with a wet brush, it, like, even, it makes me so excited. So I really just coated that pencil brush And I am going to wet it. I'm just going to spray it a few times. Can't tell if I still have enough product on there. I'm going to go in with a little more. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this over the areas where the purple and that green meet. So let's see if this works. I don't know, because my green is starting to kind of go away. The area is getting smaller and smaller. Wow, that's pretty. I don't think I've been disappointed with one shade I've used yet. Oh my gosh, this shade is so pretty. It's like the perfect baby pink. It's the perfect girly shade. Wow, that's really nice. And this particular shade kind of has that same consistency as that green one did that we used in the middle at the start. It has that buttery, super metallic, just so soft, easy to work with, easy to use. Okay, I'm going to go in with a little bit more of that green color to kind of bring it back, because it's kind of getting lost there in the middle just because there's so much going on. Now, one thing I have noticed, I'm using these shadows wet. And as you would with most shadows when you use them wet and start layering them over each other, they can kind of make your lid look a little crepey. So I'm at that point right now, but that's because, again, I've been using pretty much each and every one of these with a wet brush. I'm actually going to go in with a dry brush on this one. I'm going back to the green called Splatter, and I'm really just going to put this back over. I added enough pink to where I can layer this green over top, and the pink is still going to show through. The question is, do I want to do black, like on the very outer portion? I think I do, but black is always one of those super sensitive, you know, one of those super sensitive shades that like it could all go wrong really fast. So I'm just going to use just a tiny bit on a MAC blending brush. I mean, a lot of y'all will want to know how the black performs anyway, so taking the tiniest bit. So it is like 7:30 in the morning right now on a Saturday. My husband is sound asleep. It is so cold outside. I'm taking my dad out to eat for his birthday. We're gonna go to brunch. So yeah, I'm up early. I think we're gonna take that violet shade on the lower lash line. Go in with a pencil brush. And just kind of, I'm not going to even do it like really nice and neat. I'll just do it messy. It doesn't matter. I don't know if it's what I'm going to really want on the lower lash line. It's going on fine, I guess. I don't know if I'm crazy about how I put the black on there. Black shades for me are those things where like I don't need one in every palette, so, but a lot of people think otherwise. I think I'm going to kind of go over a little bit of the purple on the outer portion of that lower lash line and go in with the shade Graphic. It's one of these, I forget what these are called. These might be that floating glitter formula. But let's see, since we didn't use one of those on the lid, let's use this on the lower lash line and see how it works. Very, very deep. It's dark, and I didn't dig my brush in there, so it's obviously very pigmented. The only thing is I could see this being just almost like a straight up black, because I am not seeing any of the glitter that's in the pan. I'm not seeing it on my lower lash line. I could have, based on my sweeping motion, it could have already, you know, I see half of it like actually on my face, so that's probably what happened. But this appears to be one of those shades that you're going to have to go in, like if you're going to use it on your lid, that you go in with like a patting motion so that you keep the glitter intact. Okay, that completes the eyeshadow portion. I'm going to go ahead and go off camera to do my liner and my mascara because those are boring. I have really nothing new to show there, and I'll be right back. So eyes are done. I ended up doing a winged liner, which I wasn't going to do, but I did. And then I added my mascara and falsies, which are just some regular Kiss lashes from the drugstore. I think these are in the style Pompadour. So now that we're done with eyes, let's go ahead and move on to the face. So I don't really have a new face primer. I'm just going to use my Carez Greek Yogurt Smoothie. This thing is so good to my skin in the wintertime. It's very, I wouldn't recommend it for oily skin. but I have normal to dry skin, and in the winter especially, my skin does get very, very dry. So this just really helps moisturize, and it makes my skin feel so good. So the foundation we're going to be using is the Clinique Even Better Makeup Broad Spectrum SPF 15. This is not a new foundation, but it is new to me. Comes in this bottle right here, and it's like a little squeezy one. So I'm going to squeeze some onto my hand. I'm going to start off with this. This is probably more than enough. This looks like more than one pump of other products I would use. For reference, this is in the shade Buff. It's Buff WN16. I don't know. The lady at, I usually can match myself pretty good online with the descriptions of the foundations, but Clinique is one that doesn't really put the descriptions of their foundations online. So the lady in store matched me. I'm going to take my beauty sponge. This is the Morphe beauty sponge, and I am going to take my Wander Glow Getter Mist. I spray my sponge with this whenever I do my foundation, and I just really like how it works my foundation into the skin. So let's go ahead and start and see how this works out. Like I said, this is not a new foundation, just I had received a coupon from Ulta for a free Clinique foundation with a consultation, and my consultation was getting matched, so easy enough, easy peasy. Ulta, I've noticed, has like some really good perks. I didn't used to be as much of an Ulta fan as I was Sephora, but these days I feel like Ulta's giving Sephora a run for their money in my book. They've got those 21 days of beauty like a couple of times a year, which is awesome. Now granted, Sephora has the weekly wows, which I really appreciate too, but I randomly get coupons from Ulta for like, I don't know, like this one, or I got a coupon for like to get $10 off of one of the IT Cosmetics CC cream. I forget what they're called, but it's the CC cream. Just little things like that, and I think that makes people feel like a little more appreciated, which is nice. And then obviously I think I'm with everybody in that I think their point system is better. I'm trying to see like if hold on, let me bring the mirror up close. I mean, the foundation is okay. I think Clinique makes really great products. I have never really been a fan of their foundations. This is just looking kind of powdery on me, and I'm not really one for that look. Next up, I'm going to try the Huda Beauty Overachiever Concealer. If you watched my haul back during the Sephora sale, I picked this up. I have a bag of stuff that's been sitting, and I'm like, okay, well, today's the first impression. Let's go ahead and use it. I got mine in the shade Coconut Flakes because the light medium was way too dark. I had swatched it in store. So it's got like a little metal tip applicator, and I think I have heard that a little bit goes a very long way. So I'm not gonna put a whole lot on. I think, yeah, I'm not looking to be super cakey under my eyes, and my under eyes have like really fine lines, so I know this will settle. The applicator feels really, really cooling though. It feels really like luxurious. So I'm going to go back into my beauty sponge, use my spray, of course, because with this being more of a full coverage concealer, the spray really helps to kind of thin it out a little bit. So let's see. I feel like I'm looking down. Let me grab my mirror real quick because I'm looking down at this mirror and I don't think you can see. Wow. That is some intense coverage. That is really, really cool. Ooh, I like that a lot. I pretty much, with Huda products, I assume I'm going to love it. So the day that I don't like something, I'm going to be very, very sad. I really do like the concealer, but the concealer is showing me how much I'm really not liking the foundation. It just, my skin looks kind of powdery and I don't like that. Okay. Oh well. the, let's see, Milk Makeup, the Translucent Light Powder. It's the Blur and Set. I purchased this during the sale November as well and have not used it. So you know I have gone hardcore for the Huda Easy Bake Powder. And I'm not a powder girl, but that one kind of sold me on powders. So then this one had such a, like, it was so popular. Let's try this. I'm a little bit scared. Just taking, this is a little e.l.f. brush I've had forever and a day. It's a blush brush, and I've used it for the under eyes, for powder on the under eyes, and I have just really liked how it works. Okay, just taking a little bit. It's supposed to blur all that. I don't know, the Huda set really high expectations for me. And this seems to be like a little bit lighter than the Huda because I can see as I put my brush in there, I can see some of the powder float up, which I don't get that with the Huda. Okay, so I'm just going to take a fluffy brush and I am going to do like I've been doing with the Huda, a little bit on my forehead, a little bit under here, and then on my cheeks. Let's try to shake some of this up. There we go. Okay. Now what I love about the Huda powder is that it doesn't make my face look powdery, even though it is a powder. So, interested to see if this is going to be along the same lines, and it might be hard to tell because I don't like the foundation. So, I really like the jar though that it comes in. I don't know. I wouldn't say that it's like, that I feel like it's super blurred anything. And I also don't know if it like lightened up the foundation. It's translucent light, so that might be, I think I may have needed the medium. Did it come in light, medium, and deep? I think it did. I don't remember. Anyways, whatever it is. Yeah, I think that's why it probably lightened it up. I don't know. I feel like I can't really give a great first impression. I'm not wowed, but again, that might be because of the, I don't know, because of the foundation. Last, but certainly not least, I have the Tarteist Pro Glow and Blush Palette. I was so excited for this one. I love the last one, but this one, like the packaging, the fact that there's a little bit of everything in here, really got my attention, and I was able to snag this with an Ulta 20% off coupon. So I'm loving that I'm getting a lot of this stuff on sale. So you open it up. As you do the previous one, you've got the mirrors on the sides. I'm going to try not to blind you. But you do have, let's see, a highlight, a blush, and a highlight, a bronzer, and then 4 blushes. This one looks like it's too deep for a highlight, but it's got that sheen type of finish that would look beautiful on deeper skin tones. And this does look more like a palette that would be more suited to various skin tones, unlike Tarte's other blush palettes that just, you know, are really more for light to light medium. So I'm going to start off with bronzer. I'm going to use my, this is Benefit, this is like that little bamboo bronzer brush. And I'm going to bronze up because I need to bronze quite a bit. This, either the foundation was too light, and I already know that that powder was a little too light. And I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't choose the medium. I didn't think I needed the medium. This is, I'm really, really liking this just based off of the bronzer. It's very, like, it's warming up my skin so easily without looking like splotchy, powdery, gross. I'm happy with that. What blush are we wanting to use? I think I'm going to go in with this one right here. It's the first one of the 4, and it is called Electric. The bronzer was called Solo. And totally random, if you're not a Star Wars geek or fan or whatever, then you'll probably find this totally boring. But we picked up Solo on Black Friday. We had not seen it in theaters because I just was like, Han Solo without Harrison Ford is a no-go for me because he is the only Han Solo in my book. And anyways, my husband had seen snippets on an airplane ride and said that he thought I would really enjoy it. So we picked it up on Black Friday, and I can't even tell you, I enjoyed it so much. I don't know, it's one of those things where you have such low expectations. This blush is so good. I'm really, really loving it. It went on so easy, it builds up so nicely, and it is quite pigmented. I could see if you go in with a heavy hand, I could see this getting out of hand real fast. So I love it. That is really pretty. Next up, I'm going to go in with the highlight, obviously the only highlight that I would be able to use, which is this one, and it's called Hi-Fi. Just going to grab a little bit on my Anastasia A23 and just put that on. Now the thing about Tarte highlights is that sometimes I find they layer very powdery on the skin, so that is going to be the only thing that I could possibly see about this, but it is very pretty. It's really glowy. That is the face palette. Now let's move on to lipsticks. I really don't have anything new in the area of lipsticks, so I'm just going to select something from my collection. So for lips, again, I'm not using anything new. I'm just going to use one of the Anastasia liquid lipsticks. This is in the shade Crush, and then I am going to top it with one of the Kylie glosses, and it's one of the high glosses in Oh You Fancy. Anyway, this is the final look for this first impressions video. Let me zoom you in just a little bit and I will get you up close and personal to the eyes. Really easy to work with, kind of just threw it together, but I am actually really happy with the result. Let me zoom you guys back out and I will let you know what I thought of each and every one of these products. Alright guys, that brings us to the end of this first impressions video. Let's just go ahead and go through these products so I can let you know what I think. So first of all, start with the eyeshadow palette. This one exceeded pretty much every one of my expectations. I did not think I was going to like this palette as much as I did. It is just very buttery, soft, easy to work with. It gives me that metallic look that I really, really enjoy. I feel like they performed quite well dry. It took it up a notch to take them or to go in with a wet brush, and I really see myself enjoying it in the spring months to come because of all the blues in here. So I'm actually really happy I picked it up and on sale. Next up is the face palette. I love this. This thing is so good. I love that it's got deeper blushes to accommodate more skin tones than their typical palettes. I love the packaging. I love that they added the splatter to this and they're not going in with like same old, and just the bronzer performed really well. I actually very much like the highlighter. It wasn't as powdery looking as I thought it was going to be. And then granted, I only tried one of the 4 blushes, but it performed right in line the way I would want a Tarte blush to perform, the expectation I have for Tarte blushes, and I anticipate the rest to perform just as well. So this one was a definite win for me. Let's see, moving on to the foundation. I think I pretty much made it known in the video what I thought of it. My thoughts still hold true. I'm not crazy about it. Clinique is a great brand. For other products, for me, as far as foundations, a lot of people find their foundations to be perfect for them. I'm just not one of those people. So it just ended up looking very powdery on me. I'm just not crazy about the consistency. It just looks very dry and powdery on me, and I like a little bit more of a, I don't mind matte, but like for example, the Fenty foundation is a matte, but it doesn't give me that cakey, powdery look. It gives me a very airbrushed type look, and I don't get that with this foundation. So this one was a no-go for me. This is probably one that I will pass on to my mom, see if she wants to put it to use. Let's see, the Huda Overachiever Concealer. This thing is awesome with the very little bit that I used, and it covered so much. I think because I used a little bit and not a whole lot, I didn't get the cakey, ugly look that a lot of people were complaining about, and so I think that's the key. Go in with a little bit. If you find that you need a little bit more, then go in with a little bit more, but I love this concealer. I also love this metal tip applicator because it feels very cooling, it feels soothing, which makes it feel very luxurious. Now granted, this is an expensive concealer. I think it was like $28 or $30, probably 30. I did get it on sale with the 20%, but it does what it claims, at least for me. So loved this, and I will definitely continue to put this to use. As far as the powder, I feel like I can't give you like an adequate if I really liked it or not. The only thing I didn't like right off the bat is that I think I chose the wrong shade. I got light, and that's what I thought I needed, but I think maybe I needed medium, because this seemed to lighten up my foundation quite a bit to where I knew I had to go in bronze, and that hasn't happened to me in a while. So anyways, aside from that, I can't really tell if I like it or not because of the foundation. The consistency of the foundation I already didn't like, so adding this onto it just really didn't make for something that I was really wowed by. So I'm really gonna have to keep testing this out to see if I like it. In my mind, I already have like my mindset that the Huda, nothing's gonna top the Huda powder for me. That's the one powder that I have really been sold on without having been a powder type of girl. So this one is kind of an I don't know, except for the shade. Not crazy about the shade. So those were the products that I put to use today that were brand new. Just kind of my thoughts on them. For the most part, I feel like I was pretty happy with everything, which is always a plus when you purchase new makeup and you're happy with most of what you bought. So I hope this helped you out. I hope you enjoyed this first impressions, and if you've been on the fence for a few of these products, I hope it helped you out. I hope it helped you out. Before I let you guys go, I need to give you the verse of the day. Today's comes from Psalm 118:8, and it says, "It is better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in man." I have to give a verse of the day for those of you who are new to my channel. I do, because my love for Jesus is more than my love for makeup, and honestly, without him, there'd be no channel. There'd be no anything. It's just, you know, my life is him, and without, it would be like meaningless to make a video without including him in it. And it is just in the purpose really is just to kind of help give you encouragement, motivation, take from it what you will, not trying to shove anything down your throat. It's just me sharing that love to you, and I hope you appreciate it. If not, feel free to click off of the video before I start the verse of the day. I'd be okay with that. So it's there for those who want to hear it. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a wonderful New Year's, and I look forward to many more videos with you to come in 2019. I'll see you very soon. Bye, everybody.